Let's take a break, it's time to get baked. I'm a high stakes gambler and the winner gets all. Alright, it's the high times, it's the high times, it's the high times.
High Times is a cooking game and also a dating sim, all rolled into one. So in the game, you serve your customers and you have a lot of customers. You give them their donuts. So the twist in High Times is that the donuts that you give them, each of the donut flavors correspond to a different mood. So we have 9 flavors in the game. If you serve them vanilla, for a vanilla donut, for example, it will make them happier. If you serve them a strawberry donut, it will make them feel more nostalgic. But that catches the attention of the players kasi it kind of like becomes a donut therapy in a way that your customers go to you, they rant to you about their life problems, and it's kind of up to you as as the cafe owner to figure out what type of mood will best help your customers at the moment, because sometimes they don't exactly know what they want.
We hope we were able to achieve that sweet spot, sugar donut pun intended, of humor and drama, right? The characters here are quite quirky. You have a girl who's a punk rocker who accidentally set your shop on fire this one time. You have this influencer girl who's crazy about dancing. You have a NSFW artist. You have a
very spicy stuff.
Yeah, you have spicy stuff. Actually, initially the game was meant to be even more what's the word? Spicy.
Yeah,
Let's just use that word.
yeah.
Spicy. But after different drafts, after iterations, we sort of settled on. Of course, there's nothing too R-rated about this game, but the jokes are leaning on the more inane or quirky side, I'd say. So they can expect wacky characters, a colorful cast with each of them having their own individual traits. But like our other games, they can also expect a story to unfold. Why are these people here? What problems do they have? If you're familiar with the game Valhalla, that's the bartending cyberpunk simulator. I think the conception of the game was very much inspired by that, wherein you just wanted a cozy game wherein you're managing a shop, you're serving people donuts, and you're getting to know people better. And considering as a company, we've had experience, and all our games in the past have had visual novel elements in it, right? So we knew we could tell a story, but the question is, how do we get a piece of gameplay? What gameplay do we pair best with a certain story that we wanted to tell? And again, we were going through it and we realized, okay, what if you serve donuts? So instead of, again, Valhalla, which is bartending, if you're familiar with games like Papa's Donateria or Papa's Pizzeria, or even Cooking Mama, I think when people see this game at cons, they're like, oh, it's like Cooking Mama. It's just, there's a joy in just getting a donut and putting sprinkles on it. And so it started with that story and donut assembly.
And cooking games, right? Because I think that's what's missing dun sa mga cooking games noon, di ba? They're endless mode, they're very fun to play. But we're a story company, so it's impossible for us to make games without a story in it, because we feel that players will come for the gameplay, but they will stay for the story. So why not have a marriage between the two? Generally speaking, our games just typically take 2 years to make. So 2019, 2021, we want High Times to be a bit longer. So probably by 2022 or 2023, dapat siya ma-release. But ayun nga, as Carlos already mentioned, COVID happened. Back in 2019, we have a physical studio, so it was a very collaborative environment, very fun. And then suddenly we were just stripped away from that, right? We suddenly had to transition working from home, and it was not a fun time. Like, oh my god, it's not a fun time. People were just like depressed. I don't know. I was depressed. I don't know if Carlos was depressed.
No, I think yeah.
But it was
when
just
COVID
really...
is happening and you're just adjusting to that. Like this is the first time I've seen you in a month, I think, or maybe even more, because we I don't know. I feel like I like that collaborative effort of just seeing people. Hey, how's it going? And adjusting to the work from home is always difficult. Yeah.
And then we realized that, tanda mo, Carlos, we had this first build of High Times and we were not quite satisfied, but we showcased it anyway on PGDX. And we talked to one of the publishers in PGDX, and he said na, hey, what if the donuts, kasi back then the donuts kind of make you high, so we were very parang outright in your face about
Yeah.
that, di ba? Oh, the donuts make you high. So the publisher expressed concern na it may be a little bit too edgy and we may have problems getting into platforms, which was,
Like Switch, Nintendo.
yeah, like
right?
Switch, Nintendo. It's not family friendly, quote unquote, di ba? And we were like, oh, you're right. So the publisher actually suggested na what if you try to spin the highness in a different, in a different manner. So I think that's where the idea of it being able to change emotions instead came into mind. I could think two at the top of my mind, right? So number one, in terms of voice acting, we have a star-studded cast. Like, I really cannot believe that we were able to get Lily Pichu and Johnny Young Bosch to get, to voice the characters. And even other very popular voice actors in the West like Gianni Matrogano and Michael Kovac. I don't know what they saw in the game, but they're like, oh, this looks interesting. We're gay. We're gonna voice act for this, right? And then the second biggest achievement I would say is that when we entered High Times into a competition called Young Creatives Challenge, we actually won ₱1 million for it sponsored by the government. So it's a contest by DTI. So we were like, oh, that's nice, right? It's nice that our that Filipino games are being being praised or being celebrated and being recognized. Whenever we exhibit the game to conventions, especially Gamescom, this High Times kasi is the first game that we ever exhibited in the biggest gaming convention in the world, which is Gamescom. We actually had a good reception, wouldn't you say, Carlos?
I had so much fun there. It was tiring, but for the first time, I think we had lines of people, lining up to play the game.
Yeah.
When you develop a game, it's like you're on one end and your audience is on the other. You don't get to see their face when they play it. But in cons, you get to do that, and I think that was very fulfilling, just seeing people, even if it's just a small laugh at the joke or saying, oh, I like this character, can I date this character? Oh, he's hot, she's hot. Oh, what do I do? How do I unlock the donuts?
Yeah.
More emotions, and so that interest is what gets us going, I think.
Yeah. Actually, in line with that, and this is something that really, really surprised me, people actually played the game for the gameplay. Kasi we're actually marketing it as a visual novel, right? So typically, the audience that we're expecting are people that wants to read stories or are into the or that parang are into the games because they want to get to know the characters. Some people, just play the game for the donuts. Parang out of all the games, kasi we had a similar game called Love is War, RPG naman siya, turn-based. We didn't have those kind of people na, oh, I'm gonna play Love is War because I like the RPG.
They played it for the dating
They
sim.
play it for the dating sim, but for High Times, you have a good mix of people
great
that
too,
are
but
in it for the donut, di ba?
Mm.
So that actually, that was really nice. Na parang, okay, we know we're headed into the right direction. And so for the reception has been really, nice. They really like it. So I don't know if that's a good thing kasi at the same time that also puts a lot of pressure on us to deliver on release, right? Pero yeah, I would say na that is one of the highest strengths ni High Times. People like the characters and also people like the gameplay, which is pretty hard to do, to be honest. Yeah. It's High Times until it's released, yes. And then afterwards, we have a next project lined up actually after High Times. It's called Spirit Rancher. So Carlos, would you actually like to give a brief introduction for Spirit Rancher?
So the Steam page is already out on Steam, so go search it, Spirit Rancher. It's like and subscribe, selfless plug. But it's one of our most ambitious games yet because as you can see, our previous games are more visual novel oriented. This one, we have a beautiful pixel art team who's brought this world to life. You have a pixel art sprite character, there's combat in it, there's life sim elements. So my pitch would be it's Stardew Valley plus Slime Rancher or Pokemon, in the sense that it's a farming sim type game wherein you carve a life for yourself in a magical land that's full of spirits. However, instead of planting crops into the ground, you're not a farmer, you're more of a shaman, and you use your magical talismans and arcane magics to capture these nature spirits and find them a nice home. And so, for example, instead of planting potatoes into the ground, you capture a potato spirit and you take care of it and it'll produce potatoes for you. There's also visual novel elements in it. You can also, when you think of Stardew, you think of romancing the characters there as well, or just befriending them. There's also still going to be those elements, but gameplay is going to be front and center in that one. So that's one we're really excited about.
Yep. Yeah. I guess I would just speak from my heart, diba? Like if I were to travel back 10 years ago and I meet, my 20-year-old self, diba? Ano sasabihin ko sa kanya? I would say na if you're gonna be specifically an indie game developer, right? Because that's what we are. We're indie game developers. We make our own games. I would say na you should have a lot of patience and perseverance, and you should be in it for the long haul.
Everyone has those, I want to make a game like this. And that's great. You lean on your passion to create that. But also, if you're planning for this to be a sustainable thing, there are other questions that, who's your target audience? Is the market and the target audience right to make this game a sustainable thing, to make it successful? On one hand, I'm sure there's a story. As a story writer, there's always a story that like, I want to tell this story and it's going to be magnificent. But also, you need to learn how to channel that. Don't censor it. Channel that passion, but also learn how to sculpt that into something that can actually make your company or your if you're planning to be a long-term company that will make multiple games, how do you make that sustainable? Right now, you look at everything and like, what's possible? I love Elden Ring. We're not going to make an Elden Ring game anytime soon unless we really get successful, because that's so difficult to do well. What's more manageable? Visual novels are a lot easier to code than like a 3D action game. What are your strengths? Bank on them. If you think, oh wait, writing, stories are kind of interesting, let's put that together. And then now that you know your strengths are, who's the audience for this, right? And then it's sort of a thing that once you start thinking that way, the game will sort of create itself, and that's where you'll find your forward trajectory from. Thanks to you guys for having us here, to Enduins Gaming. Thanks to the team. Again, the artists, the programmers, the writers, the animators,
the
voice actors from all the voice actors are amazing. They I cannot stress that enough. It's one thing to write something, but they bring the character to life. And sometimes there are things like there's an ad lib and we're like, let's keep that, let's make that about their character. So we change the script, and so the voice actors themselves also have a big role in really portraying how the final character comes out, so everything, all of the people who've worked a lot to bring this to light, to bring High Times, are almost there, right at the finish line. Thank you. So shout out to all of those people.
And also to our supporters and fans, right? They've been with us through every delay.
That's
and
true.
they've been super nice about it. Kasi yun talaga yung, yun talaga yung pinaka nakakatakot ko. That, what if they turn on us kasi sobrang tagal natin, i-develop
Where's
yung
the
game. Where's the
Pitchforks.
game? But no, our Kickstarter backers and Patreon supporters have been super cool. So thank you so much. We're really doing our best to make sure that High Times is the best as it can possibly be by release date. So thank you everyone.
Thank you.